Welcome to another edition of our live Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio. Thanks for watching us on this rainy night in Pittsburgh. Does it really seem like February?
Nope.
It's amazing, this winter weather that we had.
What winter weather?
I know. You jinxed it, Chip. Here we go. We're going into the winter. Well, thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Cranberry, Wexford, and Nemacolin. You can see us out there in Nemacolin. A friend of mine called in one time, was criticizing me and what I should do on the show. I said, "Are you watching from your mother's house in Baldwin?" He goes, "No, I'm at my house in Nemacolin." So thanks for him telling me that. I use that in our opening line. Thanks for liking our shows and watching us. And we appreciate all our Facebook likes, 6,872 likes. Appreciate that. Keep liking us, keep watching our shows. And I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip Painter's right here with me. Smoking Jim Frazier's here. I don't know what colors that he's representing tonight. Looks like the black baseball team or something. We'll have to see. And I have a...
He likes to mix it up a little bit.
Smoking Jim, I know you like chicken, and one of my favorite places, my son and I had to take him to an appointment at the VA, so he goes, "Dad, you want to get a Chick-fil-A?" So we got a chicken, egg, and bacon, and chicken and egg bagel, and one of the guys there, we've become friends with him over the last year. His name's Tony, so a shout out to Tony. He goes, "How's Smoking Jim Frazier doing? And when does he bring up the race card?" I go, "In the first minute or two of the show." And he goes, "Oh, I love him. He's just great." He goes, "What's he like in person?" I go, "He's the same." So I told him that this morning because he watches our show. And I go, "When do you watch it?" He goes, "I try to watch it every week."
Wow.
So, and he lives in Carrick, not Gateway. So he's at Carrick. But yeah, we appreciate that. I got some promos here. I'm not sure how we're going to do this with the camera work, but usually that camera there, it's usually that one on the right, or your left. And he usually focuses it in. We got Jay doing audio, video, and camera work. If you can pull in on that, get a close-up of Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Okay. And it's 412-831-1900. Frank Fanera, the owner, sponsors our show with an XL pizza, and he also gives us a steak hoagie. Well, tonight I met his sister, Nikki, came all the way from Smoking Jim's hometown of Monroeville.
Woo!
And she said, "I'll see you guys on Monday at Olive Oil's Pizzeria in Brookline," because she's so excited about trying to see us. Excellent, Jay. You come back strong. Next up on here is one of my favorite places is the Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Right there is good. 2600 South Park Road. They do a lot of great work. They have events there. I think they got a flea market coming up soon, so check it out. My favorite coffee shop, which I like their green tea. I said to my son the other day, "Would you like to go to Reginald's Coffee?" He goes, "Sure." Do they got iced coffee? Guess what? They made him an iced coffee, and they got me a pot of my Dragonwell loose leaf green tea. So me and my hero, my son Drew, were at Reginald's Coffee. Check it out. It's only 1.6 miles from my house, and they had a huge blueberry muffin that I got my son. It was like a handful, like about that big. So he ate the whole thing. Next up, I end each show with Stay Joey Strong in honor of this young man who fought cancer and died before his 10th birthday. It was DIPG, brain cancer. It's a death sentence when you're diagnosed with it. There's like a 1% chance that you'll survive. And most of these poor kids die at a young age. And 9 years old is way too young. There's the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. You can donate money as little as $1. Check out their events they have. They do a 5K 1-mile run that I film every year, except this past year when I got my kidney transplant, I couldn't be there. Amy Taylor, a star on BPTV now with Commit to Be Fit. She filled in for me and did a great job. But check out the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Next up, Dave Cable likes to have a little fun at my expense. Here I am, the face of Uncle Sam. Tell them Uncle Al sent you to BPTV, 412-831-3304. We have Alex here. He's a new volunteer. Jay's trying to show him the ropes. How about this camera work by Jay? Jay's a superstar. Look at that. And tell him Uncle Al, the talking machine, wants you for BPTV. You can be like Jay. Not exactly. Now we got Zach in here who's not going to Gateway. Get a slice of pizza, Zach. Come on. Glad you made it. That's it for that promotion. One more promotion, Jay, and then you can get back into that control room. Wanted, Bethel Park Community Foundation. I'm a trustee on the board. We have money for your groups in Bethel Park from $100 to $5,000. They've been around for 25 years helping people in the community. They've given out over $970,000 in 25 years, so they have money for you. Go to bpcf.org, get an application, come to one of our meetings, and tell us what you need the money for. And don't bring Smoking Jim Frazier because he's out there in Monroeville. And we're going to do What's on Your Mind after I tell you who sponsors that. Skeet's Service Station. They're in Finleyville, 6103 Route 88. Smoking Jim's there. He was there when they had raccoons who escaped about 2 weeks ago. They broke out of the cage, and I had an oil change and the tires rotated, and I go, "Where's the raccoons?" They go, "They're gone. They broke out." They had them for about 8-9 months, and they're gone. But he does work on anything and everything that runs on gas. You name it, he works on it and does a great job. He's an honest mechanic, and his co-partner Denny and his dad Butch, they all work on the cars, and they've all worked on my car since I usually have a used car. And they did something new. They now will work on electric devices. So you name it, bring it in there, they'll work on it. Other than that, anything like weed whackers, boats, trucks, cars, vans, they'll work on it. Give them a call.
There's no saying if they'll ever get it running again.
Oh, they get it running. Believe me.
Just joking, Skates. Just joking.
They get them running for sure. Or you'll be running out the door with a shotgun or something. But call them at 724-348-4715. Tell them the talking machine sent you there. And check that out. We're going to do What's on Your Mind right now with Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at you.
you got to see Levine.
What year?
But I tell you what, man, you know, what we traditionally, what we try to do the first week of Black History Month, we try to bring nice weather to Pittsburgh, and we did it. But we did something extra.
Disclaimer, that's a known 100% lie because he doesn't get hot or cold. And he stopped wearing his winter gear after it turned 61 degrees yesterday. So he's a known liar. I just have to emphasize it, that he's an entertainer. So if y'all like liars, he's the guy. Go ahead, Smoking.
Proof is in the pudding. Nice
And
weather,
you
Black
proved it.
History Month.
You proved it. You've never said it till this day. This is the first time. Check the tapes. 660 plus shows. I dare you to find one where he even said about Black History Month, let alone the weather.
But I tell you what, Black History Month is coming in good because on February 1st, Lamar Jackson won the NFL MVP. And on February...
Who is Lamar?
A black quarterback for
Where at?
Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. That was for Tony.
Oh, you mean the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens?
And the black quarterback. And on February
You can't
2nd,
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes won MVP of the Super Bowl.
And he's the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Third black quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Black history.
What a
Black
rarity.
History
I
Month.
thought he was the youngest quarterback
He was.
to win the Super Bowl MVP.
That too. But what's on my mind is, I tell you what, you know, by popular demand, everybody's coming at me to do my Smoking Jim, 1st and 10 with Smoking Jim. top 10, and this week is
Tell me one name of one person that even asked you to do that.
My inbox are full.
Tell me one.
But here's the top 10 sports moments. Thought about Chipper on this of 2019. Top 10 sports moments of 2019. And let's start with number 10B. Andy Ruiz upsets Anthony Joshua. How about number 10? The AAF. How about number 9B? Baylor women beat Notre Dame for the national championship. How about number 9? Virginia wins their first national championship. How about number 8? Clemson wins the national championship. How about number 7? Duck Hodges keeps the Steelers in playoff contention. How about 6B? New England wins the Super Bowl. How about number 6? Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fights to a draw. How about number 5? 15-year-old Coco. Wimbledon.
Try to spell it first. Spell it if you can't say
Try to
it.
say Palomalu.
That's it. How about 4B? Toronto Raptors win the NBA. How about number 4? Tiger wins the Masters. Don't you think that's pretty good for number 4? How about number 3? Anthony Joshua regains the title of the baddest man on the planet. How about number 2? Lamar Jackson wins MVP. We already talked
No,
about
he
that.
already didn't win the MVP until 2020.
But he won it for the 2019
But
season.
he won it in 2020.
But he won it for the 2019
No,
season.
no. Everything else happened in 2019
When was
because
the
you didn't say
season?
anything about
When was
Kansas
the
City
season?
winning the Super Bowl.
When was the season?
Well,
Kansas City, I was talking about Black History Month.
No,
Black
see,
History Month.
You're not consistent.
You got to pay attention
You
to
are
it,
not
brother.
consistent.
You got to get up on your
You know
urban
I'm gonna call you
dictionary,
out.
brother.
You know I'm going to call you out.
Got to get your Barnix together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how about number 1B? You got to agree with this, Chipper. Kentucky Derby callback. And number 1, sports moment of 2019, little drum roll trip. Antonio Brown sits out the whole season.
Oh, wait a
Who would
minute.
ever
Wait a minute.
predicted that?
Wait. Antonio Brown did not sit out the whole season.
Pretty much.
Antonio Brown played his way out of the NFL. Nobody wanted anything to do with him. He did not sit out.
Did you think that? Could you imagine him not playing at all?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
The way he was going,
I figured his
absolutely.
career. I figured his career was done.
He was a train wreck
When
before he
did you
left
figure
Pittsburgh.
that? When did you figure that?
The last year he played with the Steelers because he was so mentally ill,
And he quit on his team.
and he didn't show up for the last
He didn't
game.
quit on his team. He's mentally ill. He was
Q-U-I-T.
mentally ill. Machine said he's mentally
He
ill.
quit on his teammates.
He's mentally ill.
Who
You
would
can't
want
hold
him
him
as a teammate
responsible.
when he knows that
No,
he'll
no,
quit
no,
on
you-
it?
He's sick. He needs help.
Do most people know good from bad?
Well, wait a minute.
Huh?
Wait a minute. He
Do most
apologized.
people like yourself and others
Not if you're
know
mentally
good
ill.
from bad?
Okay, wait a
Not if
minute.
you're
So
mentally
then
ill.
you're telling me that his apology was disingenuous.
I'm just saying what
because he's
Machine
mentally
said.
ill.
No, you got to ask
No,
that to
because he's
Machine. Machine said
I'm
he's
asking
mentally
you.
ill. I'm agreeing with Machine.
No, so you're saying his
I'm agreeing with
apology
Machine.
was insincere
Wanna ask him? Ask him
because
that.
he's mentally ill.
Ask
right?
him that.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you're
Let me explain something. I pray for people with mental illness,
Me too.
and I know people
And I
that
did
have
not pray for him.
that have mental illness, and I pray for them to get help. And I've known people that refuse the help, and to this day they're still alive, and they have huge issues in how they live their life, and they aren't very honest because they have a mental illness that they have to deal with.
Right.
And they got to get help. So he needs help.
He does.
He's beyond playing in the NFL anymore because you don't throw a rock at somebody that was late on the moving truck with your equipment and then refuse to pay him, and then you get locked up in
That
jail.
happens.
What? He was mentally ill.
I've seen people shoot at police helicopters. It's
Well, Smoke and Jim, thanks for all your points to this. And we varied a little bit because somehow he brings up the race card, and he just couldn't say that the youngest quarterback at 24 for the MVP in the league and the Super Bowl. He just wasn't able to do that. Now let's go to Chip Hayner. What's on your mind?
Oh, thank you, Alan. And what's on my mind? How about sports? Okay, instead
Shocker.
of nonsense. First thing, because I'd like to bring up the race card. And the greatest race, the Great American Race, is in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The Daytona 500. So you want to, you gearheads, you want to get geared up. It's coming soon. Something to look forward to later in February. The next sporting event that I'd like to bring up is how about the Pittsburgh Penguins? Coming out of the All-Star break, Matt Murray standing tall against the Washington Capitals and Alex Ovechkin on Sunday afternoon.
He looked great.
Super Bowl Sunday. And oh my goodness, let's not forget about the Pitt Panthers. They stood tall and they played some defense and beat the Miami Hurricanes.
They look good. I watched that game.
On Sunday afternoon. But the biggest sporting day of the year was Sunday. Super Bowl 54 was played. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions. And the thing I found most satisfying about that game, because it kind of was a microcosm of this generation of athletes.
You got to explain that to Smoking Jim.
This
Please.
generation of athletes is what I call
Sorry.
the me first generation. Everybody is sitting there running around and they want to be wave to everybody when they make a play. You get paid to make tackles. You get paid to run the ball. You get paid to make catches. Every time you do your job, you don't have to jump up and down and say, hey, everybody, look at me. But the thing I appreciated most on Sunday was watching the San Francisco 49ers self-destruct on Sunday afternoon in the second half of the football game. And let me tell you something, guys. The Chiefs got it right because they played 4 quarters of football. The 49ers played 3.5 quarters of football. And that's the reason why they got that sour look on their face. They were clowning. They were running down in the end zone when they made a big play, taking team photos when the game had not yet been decided. And what did they do? They let Pat Mahomes, my dear friend Smoking Jim said he's never seen a black magician before. We saw him again on Sunday. I said this 2 weeks ago. The young man is a magician. What he does on a football field is magic. And the thing that impressed me most about this young man is the level of maturity that he has. When the Kansas City Chiefs made that final interception, okay, and most everybody else was dumping Gatorade on the coach's head, and he was walking up and down the sidelines telling his teammates, finish the game. The game was not yet over. There was still time on the clock.
Yeah, a minute.
And they had their heads screwed on straight, and they did what they had to do. They ran out the clock, and the 49ers ended up with a stupid look on their face. And I hope they enjoy it because they've got all till next year to make look forward to that happening. Now, my last point being Terry Bradshaw. I have a very low opinion of Terry Bradshaw, if you guys don't know. But Terry Bradshaw made himself look like a fool once again on Sunday, talking about how Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the next great quarterback and that Pat Mahomes, his act won't last very long. And Jimmy Garoppolo was going to show him how to win the game. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo, there's one thing he can't do. Can't throw the long ball. When the game on the line.
Hold it. Who is that receiver wide open? Tell us about that.
Sanders.
Wide open.
Wide open. Game on the line. He completes that pass. It's a 49ers victory. They've got 6 Super Bowls. And he badly overthrew the wide receiver. And this is a
little less than 10 yards.
$140 million quarterback. Okay, that guy is not worth $140, okay? So the 49ers have overpaid for somebody that's never done anything, and that's what's going on in the NFL now. We're paying quarterbacks before they've accomplished anything. Pat Mahomes, that young man's they're gonna back up a Brinks truck to his house. He is gonna get paid. I bet you he's gonna be the first $200 million quarterback in the NFL. Mark my words. But I like to talk about sports. That's what's on my mind.
Well,
go ahead.
To Al Levine, the talking machine. As soon as Pat Mahomes get paid, he'll move into a white neighborhood. But I know you don't like the NFL, Chip.
Racist.
I know you don't like the NFL, but 104 million people watch the Super Bowl.
Right.
So it's clearly the most popular sport in the world.
Well, that's fine. I mean, guess who one of those 104 million people was watching it?
You.
This guy right
You.
here. And I truly enjoyed the game.
But since you like to talk sports, why'd you bring up car racing? Is that a sport?
Well, yeah. Hey, I'm going to
I
tell you something.
I thought you had to run and jump.
No,
run and jump for a sport.
Let me tell you
run
something.
and jump.
Let me
Do
tell
they
you
run and jump?
Making a left turn is an athletic event.
Shoot.
Ding, ding. Ding, ding. One more round. No, we're going to move on. Thanks, Chip Hayner, and little additional stuff from Smoking Jim Frazier with another race card again at the end of that. He's unbelievable, Tony. I'm glad you're watching. What's on my mind? I got to continue that one of the best things I watched on after Pitt winning and was seeing the Super Bowl. And then, like I told people, I got to go with KC and Mahomes because I don't care even if he has an off day, which, guess what? He had an off day. But I saw the San Francisco 49ers say we got him where we want him to be. And they just sort of meandered through the game. And Mahomes is on the sideline constantly talking to his guys. All right, we've had it rough. Come on, let's go. Let's do this. Let's get out there one play at a time. And guess what? 10 minutes to go in the game. How does he come back with 3 touchdowns?
I thought that was in the last 6.5 minutes. He scored.
But, I mean, that's when they made the difference in the last 10 minutes. But the last 6 was when they scored the 3 touchdowns to lock the game up.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you even disrespect him like Bradshaw did earlier? And again, he's mentally ill and is on medication, and he's known for that because, look, he didn't show up at Chuck Noll's funeral, the Chiefs' funeral. So
Dan Rooney's funeral.
Dan Rooney. Do you blame him for that smoking, or that's a white thing, I guess?
My buddy, I interviewed him, spent 2 days with him, pushing him in his wheelchair.
I know, and he bought you lunch.
His new wife is beautiful.
Well, they've been married for a while, too.
Third wife.
Yeah, that's not bad.
4th, maybe.
No, but thanks, Smoking Jim. But I enjoyed the game thoroughly. It was an exciting game. And I kept seeing Jimmy G overthrowing people. And I'm wondering, what was Bradshaw talking about that he's going to do wondrous things? And I was a little nervous with the game. And then I said to my son, I go, Mahomes still got more to do. I go, he's going to get these guys going, and sure enough, he did. And then look at Williams. When you talk about a potential MVP, look at the run he had. He said, give me the ball and block for me, and ran, 38 yards?
Yeah. You know, and there's been some debate as to who really the MVP of that game. And there were several characters whose performance, you could say Tyreek Hill had over 100 yards receiving. Yeah. He caught that big pass when San Francisco's vaunted secondary
Mahomes
left
called
him
that
wide
play.
Open.
He called some wasp play to
Damian
get
Williams
that.
had 100 yards rushing,
Wasp.
and he could have been. But guess what? Without Patrick Mahomes,
they don't win.
The Chiefs don't win that football game. Bottom line. I mean, would you agree with me?
No.
Never will.
Well, it's not sensational enough.
No,
put it like this. I'll second that emotion from Chip. If you take Mahomes out of the game and put any quarterback in there, they lose by 30 points.
If you put Duck Hodges in there, they lost by 80.
Here's the reason I said no. Do you guys know how much I lost on the over? I had the over. They felt so sorry for me, they gave me a free hat. That's how much money is. It's supposed to go over.
I got to go back.
Mahomes fixed the game in the
No,
first half.
let me go back to your gambling last week.
Should have got a bowl of soup.
Hold it. Last week, Smoking Jim goes, I got Dayton over Duquesne, and Dayton wins by 4 points, and they were given 7. So my man, who I offered to take $250 in front of Chip off of him and give it to him next week, I told Drew, my son, I go, Smoking Jim got Dayton. He goes, well, Dayton's winning. And when they won the game, he goes, they were given 7 points.
Up by 20 at one time.
Well, you know,
Smoking
to
Jim.
Speak to the Super Bowl, you know, now that you got everybody was called, I was watching an interview with Kyle Shanahan before the game.
Everybody loves the NFL.
And Joe Buck was touting that he's a genius. I've heard this before. That he's really showing everybody that he's the best coach in the NFL. And now for 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls, he was responsible for watching his team collapse.
Lose 46-0.
Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, and they got outscored 19-0 in the fourth quarter against the Patriots. And then here they go
21.
into the fourth quarter. They got outscored 21-0
40.
because he played conservative. Why did, at the end of the game, he's down there and he's trying to rely on Jimmy Garoppolo to chuck the ball down the field and win the game for him, and he was clearly not capable of doing it, yet they didn't have a problem running the ball through most of the game. Why he stopped, I don't know, but it was the Chiefs that
Well, how about the
capitalized.
Chiefs' defense? I wanted to get into that a little bit. They've been bum-rapped by Smoking Jim and everybody known that watches football, but look at they had 3 and outs 3 times in a row.
Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what the key was for the Chiefs' defense, and Jim will agree with me on this.
No, he won't.
Terrell Suggs watching them from the sidelines helped them perform better than anybody.
Oh, yeah. Just a tradition of it. All right, thanks for that. One thing I got to end on a sad note. Smoking Jim, a friend of ours, Sarah Mosen, told me to check out her page. And so I got to tell this. Sarah is a great person. She has millions of people who listen to her radio show. She does the Arnold tournament in Ohio each year in March. She films that on TV, and just a great person. Became friends with us by meeting us at a boxing match at the Meadows. She goes, I've watched your show, and my best friend has been on your show, Sarah Werner. I'm Sarah Mosen, and we've been friends with her now for the last 4 or 5 years, I guess. But just a great person, does a lot of great things in the community. She asked me, would I say this lady's name? Holly Shedden-Nagy. Her phone number is 412-276-5051. Her daughter, Kristen, has been missing since January 28th. She was last seen in a red Chevy Spark, and she has an OB magnet on the back. And she was diagnosed being bipolar, so she may be in a depressed state of mind, either too high or too low with her emotions. And she's been missing. If anybody sees that car, it's a red Chevy Spark. They haven't seen her since January 28th. Please call 412-276-5051 and ask for Holly and tell her you've seen the daughter, Kristen. We like doing public access things, but this is rather serious here because, something bad could have happened to this Kristen. So please check that out, and we'll be back with some Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip Hayner. My man Dr. J's in the house, Alex, and Little Z from Gateway.
There we go.
But, hey, what's a Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac? Is my story about the late, great NFL Hall of Famer Chris Dolman, who passed away.
That's sad.
Brain tumor.
Cancer.
I caught it by surprise.
Cancer.
Brain cancer.
Yeah. Fought it for a couple years.
And I put on Facebook a couple of weeks ago that Buckner from San Francisco reminded me of Chris Dolman.
You did.
And here he was sick. But my story
Well, it's
is
like you talk about Black History Month in February.
yeah, that's it.
It's a coincidence.
But my story is back in the day, I'm hanging with Dwight Collins, a great
Whoa.
wide receiver, one of my best friends when he played for Pitt. And, Dwight was crazy.
I heard that about him.
So we're getting ready to go into the dorms, I guess the cathedral, wherever they stayed at.
A, B, and C there.
A, B, and C. So we're getting ready to get on the elevator, and here's this tall black guy with this beautiful white girl. I'm talking about red carpet beautiful. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, when we get on, I'm like,
Who is he?
this brother ain't got no business with no red carpet girl. You know what I mean? So Dwight gets on the elevator, right? And I heard of Chris Dolman a little bit, but I really didn't know who he was. Dwight gets on the elevator. He starts abusing this girl. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna have to hold Chris Dolman back.
Yeah.
And Chris is just laughing. And this girl, I thought she would just say, "Hey, forget it. You're not gonna stand up for me. I'm leaving." But she went to his room with him. So later on that summer, Now, this is after Hugh Green and Ricky Jackson played at Pitt. And you know how great Hugh Green was, so great nobody even remembered NFL Hall of Famer Ricky Jackson.
Right. And
So-
who was announcing those games? Roger Houston.
Saints fans
Roger
do.
Houston was announcing a
Hugh
big game.
Green, he come up with that. Hugh
That was
Green.
Roger Houston?
Roger Houston.
Wow,
and
that's
I
awesome.
introduced you to him.
So
Ricky
anyhow,
Jackson was an All-Pro for the Saints.
yeah, he was a Hall of Fame. He ended up making the NFL Hall of Fame as well. So
What happened?
that summer, now I've been knowing Bill Fralick since he was in 5th grade playing with the Morningside Bulldogs.
Where'd he live at?
He lived near Monroeville.
Penn Hills?
Just west.
Yeah,
west of Monroeville?
yeah. But I've never heard Bill Fralick ever give anybody any credit, right? I'm hanging with Bill
Was
Fralick.
he like that normally?
Normally, he never for his whole life ever give anybody any credit. And Bill
Nobody
Fralick,
worked as hard as him.
Bill Fralick comes out, nobody. And Bill Fralick comes out, and Bill Fralick says, we got a guy on Pitt's team named Chris Dolman. If he works, he can be the greatest. I'm like, what? And sure enough, the next year, Chris Dolman jumped on the scene and was outstanding, ended up being the 4th pick overall in the draft, and
What a
ended up
player.
making it for the NFL Hall of Fame. Who knew that guy that got on the elevator with that red carpet, beautiful girl would someday be one of the greatest of all time?
Maybe he was just a nice guy in real life.
Chris Dolman?
Yeah.
He had no business at that time with no money with a girl looking that good.
He might have just been a nice guy.
No.
Unlike you.
No.
Unlike you.
He was unworthy. Maybe after he got that NFL check.
Remember, this is a family show. This is a family show.
Thanks, Chip. All right. Thanks for smoking Jim Frazier's comments.
If you listen to my trivia segment, I made a statement that this week I was going to wrap up the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think we've beat that horse till it's just about dead. But my take on wrapping up the Super Bowl for this year is something that has never happened in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to go over some non-occurrences
Whoa.
that are attributed to the Super Bowl. And I'm sure Smoking Jim,
Agrees with half of
being
them.
the NFL fan of a bunch of us, knows all about these, right? In the history of the Super Bowl, the following firsts have yet to occur. Snow. Super Bowl 51 was the first to feature rain, but snow has yet to fall. No, Super Bowl 46, my bad. But snow has yet to fall during the Super Bowl, mainly because the league has purposely placed the game at venues where snow is rare. Only once, Super Bowl 48, as the league awarded the bowl to an outdoor venue where snow is a common occurrence in late January and early February, and that particular game was warmer than usual for that time of the year. Also, something that's never happened in a Super Bowl, an all-wild card team matchup. 2 teams that failed to win their divisions making the Super Bowl.
Wow.
10 wild card teams have won conference titles since the NFL merger, but never 2 in the same season. The closest NFL came having an all-wild card Super Bowl occurred during the 2010-2011 playoffs. The New York Jets wild card team played the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC Championship. Unfortunately, they didn't get it done, and 2 weeks later, the Steelers didn't get it done against the Green Bay Packers. There has never, in the history of the Super Bowl, been a punt return for a touchdown.
Wow.
Many kickoffs have been returned for touchdowns, and 3 block punts have been returned for a touchdown. There has never been a shutout in Super Bowl history. Every participant to date has scored. In 6 cases, the offenses have failed to score a touchdown. In 4 of those cases, the special teams scored the only touchdown.
Wow.
Super Bowl 6, Super Bowl 7, Super Bowl 9, Super Bowl 23, Super Bowl 35, and Super Bowl 53, where there was a combined 1 touchdown scored by both teams. Pretty interesting. No team has ever had home field advantage in the Super Bowl. Even though the Super Bowl is hosted in its own state. On 2 occasions, a team has played in the Super Bowl hosted in its metropolitan area, but in a different stadium. The Los Angeles played Super Bowl 14 at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and the and the San Francisco 49ers played Super Bowl 19 at Stanford Stadium in Palo Alto, which is 25 miles from the former site of their then home field, Candlestick Park. So there's another one. Okay, 2 teams from the same metropolitan area have never played in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
2 cities currently have 2 franchises. New York hosts, let's just say New Jersey hosts the Giants and the
What
Jets.
state is that?
I think it's Kansas.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Chip. I was counting on you. That was for smoking Jim. That was for smoking Jim
Anybody
Frazier.
can make a mistake.
What are we talking about?
Beginning the 2017 NFL season, Los Angeles hosts both the Chargers
What state are they
and the
in?
Rams. Also, pairs of teams share common metropolitan areas, although they are based in different cities. The Ravens and the Redskins, the 49ers and the Raiders. All these teams I've mentioned above, except the Chargers, have won a Super Bowl, but never against their neighbor.
Wow.
Super Bowl 51 between the Indianapolis Colts and the Chicago Bears represents the geographically closest, separated by only 164 miles.
Where are they located at? What state? Is Chicago a state?
I don't know.
I'm just checking.
An appearance
Because I'm
by-
confused now with
There-
all these tweets.
There has never been an appearance by every team in the NFL. 4 teams have yet to reach their first Super Bowl: the Cleveland Browns, the
Whoa.
Detroit Lions, the Houston Texans, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And maybe with the exception of the Houston Texans, the other 3, it'll be a while.
Yeah.
Every winning team, 12 teams, have yet to win their first Super Bowl. And that's the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bills, the Panthers, the Bengals, the Chargers, the Vikings, and the Titans, along with 4 that have not appeared in the Super Bowl. So there you go.
Wow.
Every
That's
team,
almost half the league.
every team losing in the Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens, New Orleans Saints, New York Jets, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the 4 teams that have never reached the Super Bowl have yet to lose a Super Bowl. A matchup between 2 post-merger expansion teams. While the Seahawks, the Bucks, the Panthers have all represented the NFC in the Super Bowl, only the Baltimore Ravens have represented the AFC in a title game where they have never met the Seahawks, the Bucks, or the Panthers.
Wow.
As previously mentioned, the Jaguars and Texans, both members of the AFC, have yet to appear at a Super Bowl.
Wow.
There has never been a game where no touchdowns were scored. Super Bowl 53, 1 touchdown scored between both teams. There has never been a three-peat. Pittsburgh Steelers have won back-to-back twice. The Patriots have won back-to-back. The Dolphins won back-to-back. And the Cowboys won 3 titles in 4 years, as well as the Steelers and the Patriots, but never 3 consecutive. A fair catch kick. A fair catch kick has never been attempted in the Super Bowl. The only scenario which a fair catch kick was seriously considered was at the end of regulation in Super Bowl 51 when Patriots head coach Bill Belichick considered a 75-yard fair catch kick attempt. Belichick decided against it. However, since the kick would have had a realistic chance of success and could have been returned by the Atlanta Falcons for a game-winning touchdown. And last but not least, a head coach leading 2 different teams to Super Bowl victories. 4 Super Bowl winning coaches have coached another team but lost. Don Shula, Bill Parcells, Mike Holmgren, and Dick Vermeil.
Wow. Great
So-
stuff.
There you go, guys. That puts a nice little bow on the NFL football season and the Super Bowl. So we now know of the things that have never happened in a
Well, I
Super
got a
Bowl.
question for the Prophet. Who did the Steelers beat when they beat the Jets in that playoff game?
I don't mean it.
Alan Faneca was on the
Oh.
Jets. Do you think that's what's keeping him out of the,
Oh,
out of the
yeah.
Hall of Fame?
I honestly am perplexed by that because Alan Faneca is the only player in NFL history that has made 6 first-team All-Pro teams at the end of the season to not be in the Hall of Fame. And Steve Hutchinson was only 5 times a Pro Bowler.
Steve was great, but he wasn't nowhere near as good as Alan Faneca.
And I have and I think, to be honest with you, you talk about prejudices.
He does.
I think it's a Steelers prejudice.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Get off
because
of that. Get off of that.
no.
The 3 Steelers going in this year.
Yeah, what do you think kept Donnie Shell out for 40 years?
Free lunch. Ed Bouchette couldn't get nobody in. Guess who? Ed Bouchette wasn't there this year because he had a back operation. Dale Lawley, our good friend, was there and got 3 in.
Let me ask you.
Dale's a nice guy. He got 3, and Ed Bouchette couldn't get Kevin Green in for 20 years.
Great point.
Let
Smoking.
me ask you this.
Free lunch Bouchette.
Peter King. What is your opinion of Peter King?
He didn't vote for Troy. He's the best sports writer in the country.
Why didn't he not vote for Troy?
Because he knew Troy was already in.
You're supposed to vote for who you think the
I agree.
best
I agree with
athlete.
that. I agree
I
with
think because he came out and admitted that he purposely didn't vote for him, trying to pad the ballot on somebody else that was not as worthy, I think he should lose his Hall of Fame vote.
Well, don't say that because as far I'm on the City League Hall of Fame, and as long as I'm on it, Curtis Martin will never
You are
get
the
in.
City League Hall of Fame.
But let me ask you this. Alan Faneca won't get in next year because Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, and the quitter, Kelvin Johnson, will be first ballot Hall of Famers. Ain't that a shame? Ain't that a shame?
Let me finish here. The problem with Faneca not getting in this year is that there were 15 other inductees, and there was only 5 being elected out of modern-day players, and there's usually 7.
No, it's always 5. The other 2 is coaches or administrators. It's only going to be 5. There's only 5 modern-day players.
And
the
you know
rest
what?
is seniors or
while we're
administrators or
on the
coaches.
subject, what do you feel about what Deion Sanders said about the Hall of Fame? Did you hear that comment?
No, what did he say?
Deion Sanders said that that people are getting elected into the Hall of Fame that are not worthy of being in the Hall of Fame, and they're watering down the Hall of Fame, and it's losing its legitimacy because people are getting into the Hall of Fame. I personally feel somebody that's worthy of the Hall of Fame is somebody that changed the game, somebody that dominated their game like nobody else. Just because you played 12 or 13 years, to me, doesn't necessarily warrant you making the Hall of Fame.
Name one guy that ain't worthy. They're all worthy. There's a lot of guys who are more
Jimmy
worthy
Johnson,
that ain't in.
Tony Dungy, Bill Cowher.
Other than, I'm talking about players.
How many players that drafted
Sorry,
by
buddy.
Bill Cowher in the Hall of Fame?
Pardon me?
How many players drafted by Bill Cowher are in the Hall of Fame?
Troy Polamalu.
He just got in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll be the first coach and player going in at the same time.
Okay, and who else?
Well, Big Ben's going in.
He is not in there yet. He's still an active player, so that's not an answer.
Drafted by Cowher. I'd have to think about that.
You answered your
Oh,
question.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Only one.
Yeah, Jerome and Kevin Green, but they were picked up by trade. And since you diminished the trades that the Steelers made this year with their shoring up their defense.
I didn't diminish it.
Oh, yeah, you did because Colbert had to trade to get a secondary.
They had to.
Yeah.
That's a
Right.
good move.
So Cowher had to get an outside pass rusher, so he traded for Kevin Green. Cowher needed a running back, so he traded for Jerome Bettis.
Chip, I got to interrupt you. Nobody can get away with getting Smoking Jim on what he said directly better than you. Nobody gets him on the truth.
I love Jim. You guys don't
But
get
the
me
one
wrong.
thing we got to all agree with, I've been saying from day one, Bill Cowher's a Hall of Famer, and he's in. I know you guys never thought he'd get in.
Well, I never
They
thought he
shouldn't
would
have.
get in, and we were talking about the Bill Cowher coaching tree.
One day you'll put his Hall of Fame ring on.
Wait, and we were talking about the Bill Cowher coaching tree.
Yeah, great.
Talk to me about how many of Bill Cowher's disciples had successful NFL coaching careers.
Same as many as Belichick. But he developed them to the
I'm
point.
hearing
Same as
crickets.
Belichick. Same as Belichick. And Bruce Arians.
Chip, you're on
Two-time
fire.
NFL Coach of the Year, Bruce Arians.
How many
Two-time-
championships?
Two-time NFL Head Coach of the
How
Year.
many jobs has he gotten fired from?
Huh?
Everyone.
How many jobs has he gotten fired from?
Everyone.
No, not in the NFL. He was not as a head coach. He retired. He retired. But every other
Retired, fired.
Hey, I'll let you go. When I met Bruce Arians down in the draft one time, Bruce Arians told me, I got fired from every job I ever had.
Sure. Every coach will tell you that. That's the
what they
nature
do.
of the beast.
A head coach gets hired to be fired. It's inevitable.
Good point.
Hey, Vince Lombardi, he got fired.
Name me one head coach.
Hey, we don't want to run out of time.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah.
Where are we even at on this?
We got 10 minutes.
All right, let me do On Location.
Okay.
Back on location, I met Frank Fanero, the owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria. We'll be there in Brookline next Monday, the 10th, February 10th. 9:30 Brookline Boulevard, 7:30 to 8:30. His sister Nikki lives in Monroeville. She'll be there. Can't wait to see us do our show. She's excited about it. I said we got 5 guests, so we'll have some fun there, and it should be a good show. February 17th, we're going to have a show in Ambridge with John Panera's agency, 651 Merchant Street. That's supposedly downtown.
February what?
17th. Mark your calendar. Try not to be doing another show with Bill Neal.
That's the day I'll be renewing my vows.
I know. That'll be a good day for Chipper. So we got that going on. We got a date for my fundraiser, March 16th at Al's Cafe. I'm doing a kidney fundraiser, Kidney Foundation fundraiser, and a Pittsburgh Sportsline show. That'll be March 16th. Looks like we're going to have $10 tickets to donate money to the Kidney Foundation and help others like me that go through transplants or dialysis. So we're going to have that, promoting that pretty good, so you can get tickets for that. And it'll be at Al's Cafe from 7:30 to 8:30. Got that locked up this past week. Judge Arnoni's going to help me host that show. So we'll have a good time. He's going to be one of the guests, and we got other guests that he's got coming to the show, which will be great. And that's just a lot of fun. Then we have March 14th. We'll be doing a show in Millvale, the Millvale Community Center. It's a Saturday night. We'll be doing boxing at 7:30. We're big fans of Millvale and how they treat us. Jose Carabella, Tim Davis, Colleen Davis, all the rest of the fighters be Golden Gloves that night on the 14th. So check that out. And we may have some other boxing coming up, and we got a lot of things going on. We're just going to roll into the last part of the show. We got some Penguin talk here, so we'll kick it off with one of the teams this year has been struck by that injury bug that all the Pittsburgh teams have suffered from this year. Look at the injuries the Pirates had, the Steelers had, the Penguins. But something's different with Coach Sullivan and his team. They play to win, and like the copy what Tomlin says, the next man steps up. Guess what? The next men have stepped up and done a great job.
It was put quite simply by Mike Rutherford, and I heard this in an interview this past week. He said that last year, we put up over 100 points, but we had a lot of great individual players on the team. They made some changes. They shipped some people out.
Yeah.
This year, they are playing
As a
like a team, and that really sums it all up. Everybody knows their roles. Everybody is pulling the rope in the same direction, and it makes a difference. I mean, here's what everything the Penguins have been through. They've lost their superstars. Sid Crosby's out for 2 months.
Right.
They are 4 points behind first place Washington. And they gave Washington all they had. They got out-hit in that game on Sunday. Tom Wilson was just racking
Ask Smoking
people
Jim
up.
what he thought of his Washington Capitals and Ovechkin.
Well,
He loves them, but he forgot to watch the game.
Matt Murray stood tall in the net in the third period.
Yeah.
And we said this before, when the Penguins won their last 2 cups, they would have never won the last 2 cups without Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray playing together as a team. And this year with Tristan Jarry and Matt Murray, that's what you need is 2 strong goaltenders to be able to win the Stanley Cup, and the Penguins have it this year. And they're both homegrown.
I know. It's through the system. What are they going to do, sign them both?
We'll see what happens.
Because Jarry's only making $600,000. You could offer him $3 million, and he'd be more than happy.
The only reason that Marc-Andre Fleury does not still play in Pittsburgh is because of the salary cap. That's the only reason he doesn't play here.
That's an excuse.
Well, there's the curse that they talk
No,
about.
He got stabbed in the back.
Yeah, the curse of the Marc-Andre Fleury. Definitely.
But but the Penguins, they're on a little bit of a road trip. They're going to Florida, and I hope Evgeny Malkin brought his sunblock. Because
Now Ruski will need it.
because the Russian boys have the fair skin, and they get a little pink, a little tender when they're out there in the sun too long.
We'll see what happens. I'm sure.
Can they win the Stanley Cup machine?
Put it like this: if they get one more forward to replace Gensel that can score some goals, they win the cup.
I will tell you this. I personally think, again, this is my humble opinion, that the hardest championship to win in all of our major sports is the Stanley Cup.
Don't repeat that to anybody.
You got to win 16 games. Hold it. Explain to him how you have to win 16 games.
You got to win 16 games, and it's
Yeah.
and winning.
I don't know if he understands that math.
Winning
4 plus
7
4,
games,
4, and
winning,
4.
Winning 4 7-game series, it takes a lot, and
Think about that a minute.
You can win them in 4.
At this point, I don't know how the Penguins would match up in a 7-game series, and the two teams that I think could potentially be stopping blocks for them is the Boston Bruins and the Washington Capitals.
Yeah.
And those two teams
I'm worried about
are
Boston.
stacked.
Yeah.
And the Bruins have something to prove. They lost the cup in Game 7 last year. They want that. Okay.
Sure.
They were
And they're a
they were
good team.
close enough to taste it. They're a great team.
Yeah.
So I think the Penguins are capable of doing it. I think it's unlikely that they will, but I do think that they're capable. Depends on how many.
When
injuries
Rutherford
they have.
makes that magical trade and gets us a forward that can score and be similar to Gensel, I'm all
But
in.
at
You
this
think
point-
the curse is off?
At this
Yeah.
point, do you mess with the chemistry that they have right now?
Well, I like the chemistry that they have, and I feel if you get a replacement for Gensel, that'll enhance what they do. Because Sullivan's such a disciplinarian that he plays a certain way, and they either fit in or they don't. Look at what Malkin's been doing.
The big pickup they had in free agency was Brandon Tanev.
Yeah.
Boy, has he been an asset to that team this year.
I know, and look at Marino for a rookie. How about that?
Yep.
So they're all contributing, and it's
Jim
just
was
great to
telling me
see.
about Tanev before we came out of here. He's told me how impressed he was with his skating ability.
Put it like this: there isn't even any notice in his mind on who Tanev is. He doesn't even have a clue, but he's been playing a good game, and they're all playing. They're playing the style of hockey that Sullivan wants to see. So that's why he signed a new contract. So.
I will tell you something, guys. I have truly enjoyed myself tonight, Jim. I'm telling you what, I love you like a brother, my man. Alan, a lot of good laughs, a lot of good sports talk tonight.
We had fun, especially when you told me about New Jersey. So I was a little nervous there, but I respect that. And Smoking Jim, we got a minute or two. Tell us how your interview went with Randy Grossman.
Man, I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, man, doing the things that we do, I grew up dreaming about, doing those things. And, to be able to talk to Randy Grossman, how humble can he be?
4-time Super Bowl
But
champ.
the one thing he said the greatest quarterback he ever played with and seen was Joe Gilliam.
Sure.
And he said he wouldn't have made the team if it wasn't for Gilliam. But I brought up a few things nobody knew about.
Of course.
I said there were 700 people. They had 12 rounds in the draft in 74.
Sure.
700 rookies and free agents in 74. Only 6 made the Hall of Fame. 5 of them were Pittsburgh Steelers. The other one in that class was Dave Casper. So he was very proud
really?
of that. And I told him there was a tight end. I told him Harold Carmichael making the Hall of Fame made me proud. I was a Philadelphia fan. I wanted them to draft O.J. Simpson, but Buffalo beat them to it. But I said there was a tight end for Philadelphia I felt should be in the Hall of Fame, Pistol Pete Ratliff. And he agreed with me. He said that was his hero growing up.
Really?
7,500 yards, 6 world championship, and 5 first-team
And back then,
All-Pros.
7,500 yards
Was
was like
huge.
getting like 18,000 now.
Yeah.
Because
They didn't throw.
It was a different game. They
Yeah.
didn't throw the ball like they throw
The
it now.
guy's still alive. He's 88 years old, and put him in the Hall of Fame. even before Fanuc.
You heard it from Smoking Jim Frazier.
Well, you know what? You got to get yourself on that seniors committee.
He got to start writing again for a newspaper because he can't get the votes.
Yeah, that's
How you
true.
going to get that good golden quill?
He can't get it anymore. But hey, thanks for watching our show. Thanks to Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner was on fire tonight. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I end each show in honor of Joey Fabus. Please stay Joey strong.